Hi, I'm Amber Kane. I teach people how to ideate, apply creative problem solving techniques, and take daily action towards their goals.
So you identified a problem in preparation, then you worked on turning it into a question and taking it through asking why, getting more questions. That may have brought you to a more interesting question that you want to solve. And now we're going to practice some other things that you could add to help generate ideas, because that's really what we're trying to focus on. What are all the things that you can do to strengthen your ability to come up with ideas? So, one is to add constraints, which we talked about in the very beginning with the 6-word stories. So, that one, we added the constraint of time. We added the constraint of theme, it had to be an introduction, and we added the constraint of it could only be 6 words. So, some other constraints that can be helpful is one, you can ask yourself, what happens if you make the problem bigger? Like way, way bigger? And what happens if you make the problem smaller? So, if I was trying to figure out if my problem was still that I had to write this paper, I didn't start it in 2 days, maybe I could make the problem bigger by saying I have to write a 50-page paper in 2 days with 5 resources. See if that makes anything interesting happen in my processes. Or I can try to make it smaller and say I have to write a paragraph in the next 2 days. Trying to reframe, because that can push your ideas in different directions. Trying to kind of reframe what the problem might be and see where that takes your ideas. And so here we're really working on defining it, getting more specific about what we're trying to solve for. So maybe I'm not trying to solve for this one specific paper. Maybe I realize I always write my papers late. And by making it smaller of, well, what if I just had to write a paragraph in 2 days? That could be more interesting. That might be the solution. It might tell me that I need to plan farther ahead because I need to break my paper writing down into smaller chunks. That could be my answer. And this is the practice of convergent thinking. Another practice to help you generate ideas is an idea generation chart. An idea generation chart helps with making new combinations. So, comparing, combining, and connecting are really powerful ways to generate our ideas. So, to do that, you want to think about what categories relate to your problem and then how can they be combined. So, let's do an example here. I'm going to let me get us a text box in here. We'll do a little bit of this together. So let's see if I'm still working on my paper. Some things that are involved in writing a paper is that I'm going to put the number of pages. Let's see, the topic, the method of writing, and I'll say the due date. Those are all things that might impact me writing a paper. So these are my 4 overarching topics. So under pages, I'm going to just put random page numbers. So we're going to say this paper is 5 pages. The topic is animals, method of writing, handwritten, and it's due in 6 days. Okay, we'll do, this one is 10 pages. The topic is war. Method is, let's see, I'm going to see blackout poetry, and it's going to do in 8 days. We'll do one more example. This one is going to be 3 pages. It is about color, and a method of writing could be, let's see, I'm going to like collage. And this one is going to be due in 6 days. Okay. So what I would do is then come up with all the different ways that I can combine these and see if any of them start to give me more interesting solutions to getting my paper written. So ways that I could combine. So I'm going to say it's going to be 5 pages about color. I'm going to use Blackout Poetry and have it done in 6 days. So maybe I realize that so Blackout Poetry is starting with text that's already there and then removing things to write a story by what's left on the page. So maybe I realize that it's hard for me to start with a blank page. And so if I do this method, maybe this really speeds up my writing, makes me more likely to get it done. Another example would be 3 pages about war. War, and it needs to be handwritten and is due in 8 days. So all of these things are helping me to try to reframe what are different ways that I can potentially approach my problem, making new combinations as we go throughout. So that's one way to use the idea generation chart. This is a practice of deducing. So you're trying to think of what are all of the possible solutions. And so this is a way to make you combine them really quickly. And then this is pushing us more towards convergent thinking. It's kind of a mix of convergent and divergent. So first we're thinking of what are all of the possible solutions? And then we're trying to focus them down as we pull them together into one solution.